My mother never hugged me. 20 years later, I found her journal and finally understood why I always thought my mother didn't love me. From my earliest memories, she maintained a careful physical distance. No goodnight kisses, no bandaging scraped knees, no congratulatory hugs after soccer games. Your mother shows love differently, Dad would explain, watching her leave my school performances early or stand awkwardly at the edge of mother-daughter events, while my friends' moms braided their hair and packed heart-shaped notes in their lunches. Mine left perfectly prepared meals with nutritional values listed in precise handwriting. When I had nightmares, she'd stand in my doorway, never crossing the threshold, saying, "Your statistical chance of being harmed in your bedroom is essentially zero." I interpreted her behavior as coldness, possibly disappointment. By 16, I'd stopped trying to bridge the gap. When I left for college, she nodded goodbye from her porch, hands clasped tightly at her waist. I called home weekly out of obligation, conversations filled with practical questions about my studies rather than emotion. Dad would sometimes whisper, "She misses you," but I never believed him. After graduation, I moved across the country, visits becoming rare, phone calls shorter. When I announced my engagement, Mom's response was, "What's your financial plan?" I didn't ask her to help plan my wedding. She attended in a sensible blue dress, sat straight-backed through the ceremony, and left before the dancing started. 2 months later, Dad called. Mom had been diagnosed with early-onset FENUS at just 58. "She's been hiding symptoms for at least a year," he said, voice breaking. "You should come home while she still remembers you." I took leave from work and returned to my childhood home. Mom greeted me with the same distant nod, but her eyes held something new. Parent fear. Dad asked me to help clear her home office while they converted it to a bedroom with easier bathroom access. In the back of her filing cabinet, I found a leather journal labeled Catherine Part age 4 to present. That night, after Mom took her medication and went to bed, I opened it. The first entry, dated just after my 4th birthday, read, "Catherine tried to hug me again today. The pain was excruciating. Dr. Wilson says the nerve damage from the accident may never improve. Physical contact continues to trigger severe episodes. How do I explain to a 4-year-old that her touch causes her mother agony?" I sat frozen, turning pages spanning decades. 3 countries of entries documented a mother's quiet anguish. Catherine's school play today, had to leave when the pain flare started. The disappointment in her eyes was worse than any physical pain. Taking double medication tomorrow for her soccer championship. Catherine asked why I never braid her hair like other moms. Almost told her the truth. Instead, bought her a book on French braiding. She can do herself. Watched her practice from the hallway. "She's so beautiful." 16 today. Catherine doesn't look for hugs anymore. Should feel relief, but only feel loss. The final entry, dated just before my wedding. I've imagined walking her down the aisle since she was born, arm in arm like mothers and daughters should be. Instead, I'll watch from a distance as I've done her entire life. My greatest accomplishment is that Catherine grew up strong and loved despite having a mother who couldn't hold her. My greatest failure is that she'll never know how desperately I wanted to. I couldn't breathe. 28 years of perceived rejection collapsed into a new reality. Every distance had been an act of love. Every coldness a shield protecting me from becoming my mother's unwitting tormentor. The next morning, I found Mom in the kitchen, meticulously measuring coffee grounds. Her hands trembled slightly. "Parrot, a new symptom." "I found your journal," I said quietly. She froze, then nodded without turning around. "The accident when you were 3. The drunk driver. My spinal injury triggered neuropathy, nerve pain syndrome." She finally faced me, eyes clear in a moment of lucidity. "What purpose would it serve? For you to feel guilty about wanting something as natural as a mother's touch, to second-guess every approach? It seemed cruel, but I thought you didn't love me." Something broke in her expression. "Catherine, I have loved you with every fiber of my being that wasn't consumed by pain. To deck you from a distance has been the greatest joy and the greatest torture of my life." I reached for her hand, then stopped myself. "It's okay," she whispered. "The disease, it's affecting the nerve receptors too. Some days, some moments, I don't feel the pain anymore." Slowly, giving her time to withdraw, I took her hand. For the first time in my memory, my mother didn't flinch at my touch. "Tell me about the good days," I said. "The ones before the accident. Did you hold me?" Constantly, she smiled, a tear tracking down her cheek. "You fell asleep on my chest every night for 3 years. I never put you down." Sometimes our parents' greatest failures are actually their greatest sacrifices, and sometimes understanding comes too late. Parrot, but not always too late for amends.